Hey everyone, welcome to the vlog today. I realized I switched up a few things. Yesterday I was supposed to do wedding stuff and today I was supposed to do Disney. But I'm actually glad that I did because today is Aiden and I's 1 month anniversary of being married. How cute! Oh, I love it. So today I'm going to be talking about wedding planning and yeah, I'm super excited because it was actually really fun. Like, it was a really fun process, and near the end it got stressful because, I mean, of course, but it was quite an adventure, especially while I was student teaching and while I was still in school full-time planning a wedding, because we did a lot of it in a very short period of time. So I will be talking about that today. So wedding planning, where do I even start? So Aiden and I got engaged January 4th, 2018. So last year on his birthday. It was very sweet. There is a video of that has been shared many times, but if you're interested in seeing it, let me know. I can probably post that here too. I cried like a baby, and yeah, so we got engaged. That's step one. Just in case you didn't know, you need to get engaged before you can start planning a wedding, even though I had already looked at venues and already picked out a dress that I liked. Anyway, so the first thing we did was we picked a date and we got a venue. So we looked at a few venues and we actually picked the one that we picked pretty quick. I think it was within a couple weeks of getting engaged, which was really nice, because the venue is like the first thing that you need. So, and it's one of the most important. I mean, it's not like every experience is different, but we picked our venue before we went back to school. So, like, again, I'm a full-time college student, and well, not anymore, but I was at the time that we got engaged. So we got engaged January 4th, went back to school January 18th, and we had already picked a venue and a date by that time. And we had already started looking at like a bunch of other things, because there's a lot of things that you have to figure out pretty quickly, which is not something that we knew. I went to a wedding show the day after we got engaged with my mom, and they were like, yeah, we're actually booking out 2 years in advance. So I realized I was 6 months behind, and I had literally gotten engaged the day before. So that was really fun. Very not at all stressful. So yeah, so we booked the venue first, and then we were looking at a lot of the other big things right away too, because our venue had like suggestions of who to use for caterer, flowers, photographer, and all that. And I think our next decision was actually the photographer, because we were just trying to figure everything out while I was still in school. So like, I was studying for finals, I was doing midterms, I was like doing everything with that and planning a wedding. And it was trying to find the balance between like, okay, I'm full-time student, 18 credits, working 2 jobs, and then planning a wedding. Because at this point I worked at Sweet Spot and I was an RA. So I was like planning a wedding, working at Sweet Spot. And let me tell you, it was not an easy process. So we looked at photographer next, and that is how we actually got a suggestion from one of my mom's friends for Morgan. And we ended up really liking her a lot when we met with her. We also met with 2 other photographers. We ended up spending, this is like public knowledge, you can get this number, so I don't feel bad sharing this, but we spent $2,200 on Morgan, and that was like the steal of the century, because most of the photographers we met with were $3,000 or more. So that was crazy. You never realize how much it costs to have a wedding until you're planning one, because we were just like, oh my, like, oh, is this really like what we're gonna be paying for these things? So anyway, we did food later. Food was actually after school had ended. We did our during summer break, we picked our food, we picked our caterer, and that was a lot of fun. I would highly recommend getting married to try free food. So also during this time, we were like obviously asking our party to be in our party and all that kind of stuff. Like, I asked my sister before we even picked our venue to be my maid of honor, because obviously, and it did, like, the balance between the three things, like my two jobs, school, and then planning this wedding, like obviously school and work were the number one priority at that time, because it was like, I'm not getting married for another year now, like I'm good, I can probably take a break, we've got the venue, we've got the photographer, like we're good to go. And then that summer we picked the food, and we just kind of like, we did everything as fast as possible in the beginning, because we knew, like, I knew I was going to be student teaching, I knew I was going to be in my field study, and I knew I would not have time to do any of the other stuff, because it's like, that's my first priority. And then we actually hit my super senior year, and we picked a cake, and we picked like all of the other little details, and we bought our flowers, which were really fucking expensive. We got fake flowers, which I would highly recommend, because nobody like really knows that it's fake flowers unless you like look at it really closely. And like, to be honest, why would you spend like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars for somebody to do your flowers when they're gonna die anyway? Like, and nobody really, like, yes, flowers are important, but like in the end, the only thing that really and truly matters is that you get to marry the person that you love. And like, that was something that was hard for me to like let go of, because I'm very much a control freak, and I like things to happen the way I want them to happen. So it was like all of this planning had led up to the big day, and then it was finally there, and it was like, okay, now I have to take a deep breath, sit back, relax, and enjoy my wedding day. And I did. I really did enjoy the wedding. It was, I would say, hands down the best day of my life, without even like hesitating on that. And I'm sure Aiden would say the same too. I'm gonna have him come and talk eventually one of these days, but he's at work right now, so he gets to be at work and I get to do this. But anyway, so yeah, one thing I would highly recommend if you're engaged and you're doing the education path like I did, you need to like put your studies first and plan your wedding when you have time, because obviously I could not be like, the experiences of last semester with EdGPA, the experiences of the semester before were so worthwhile. And if I would have been stressed about wedding planning the whole time, it would have just literally ruined it for me. Because yes, a wedding is important, and like I said, the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is that you marry your best friend. And that was something that I struggled with, as I also said. But my student teaching, like, I barely planned. I waited until student teaching was over, or like during the middle time when I had nothing to do, because we had graded all of the tests and we had done everything. And those were the days that I like called my hotel and made sure my block was still set up. The days that I like did all the little details, like buying the last minute stuff for the wedding, like the guest book, and buying all of the little things too. Because you don't really think about it, and then it's like, oh my god, the day before the wedding we realized we did not have a pillow for the ring bearer, and we did not have candles for our candle ceremony. So it was kind of like one of those things where like I had an app and it helped a lot, but there were just so many little things that you don't think of until the last minute. Alright, so this is the last video for this segment. One thing that I want to stress is like, wedding planning should be fun. It shouldn't be stressful. And like, yes, there's a million little things like I just said in the last little clip there, but like, you can't worry about that. You cannot let that take over your life, because at the end of the day, you marry your best friend, and your whole, like almost all of my friends and family were there to celebrate with me, and it was the most beautiful day of my life. So don't stress too much. You got to keep breathing no matter what. And yeah, so that's today's video. Don't forget to keep checking in. Don't forget to keep commenting, and I will see you guys tomorrow.